Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We'll just start jumping in right with questions right now, and we'll start with Chris Tracy from Scoop Duck.
Coach, going into this weekend, you're probably going to face the best competition that you will be facing until the start of PAC. What is it you're looking to see from the team, and how do you think you're going to win these first couple of games that you face those good teams?
I think one thing we've been talking about is having quicker starts. You can see we've been strong with our finishes, but if we can start a little quicker, I think that will give us opportunity to do well this weekend in all areas.
Ryan.
Coach, you mentioned those quicker starts. How do you sort of diagnose it, and how do you get those quicker starts?
I think with that, just trusting in our plans, in all areas, just trusting that what we've prepared for, it's the right way, and to just get to it quicker. Like we've gotten to every one of our plans in every game. It's just taken us a little bit. And I just think through these past couple weekends, recognizing that we've gotten to those plans, it will give us urgency to get there a little quicker.
James.
Missy wanted an update on Tara and Brooke. I know Tara took the ball off the hand, but is she going to be able to get back this weekend? And with Brooke, is her timeline, is this weekend possible, or is it a little bit further down the road?
Yeah, with both, I'm actually just kind of waiting to see. So I'm hoping this weekend will be it for both. I'm still waiting on that, but.
Back to Chris.
Coach, the first game you guys played, I can't remember the pitcher's name, Oren, I believe it was. You guys had some difficulty seeing the pitches, being successful with the pitches rather. By that third game, you guys were able to put that together. What was it that she was doing so well in the first game, and what transitions or adjustments were you guys able to make in your estimation to be so successful in that next time you saw her?
Well, I think one thing we recognize is that she throws hard. She's she's a power pitcher. She has a lot of velocity. And so we were going into that prepared to be on time for her velocity, but then we started to recognize that so we were prepared for high velo and say inside. And then we started recognizing that she has the high velo, but she kept throwing everything away. So even though she throws hard, we were actually early on what she was doing. So I think once we just kind of got our timing right and looking to drive the ball the other way or up the middle, I think that's when you start to see us have success.
Ryan.
Coach, without Brooke, you've had to rely heavily in the circle on McKenna, Stevie, as well as Jordan. This weekend in particular, how do you think the trio did?
Are you asking for the past weekend?
Yes, for this past weekend in Texas.
Yeah, no, I think they did great. I think we've got a great staff. I just think we needed to clean some things up. We thought at times we threw too many pitches. You could see that we're definitely getting our strikeouts, but then there would be times where we would give up too many hits or give up some runs that I felt like we didn't need to give up. So I think you could see with that group that when we're tight in the strike zone and changing speeds, we're really tough. If we leave balls over the plate, I felt like that's when we get roughed up a little bit.
Eric Lopez was in the circle.
Coach, what have you learned about your team through the first 2 weeks, considering you haven't been at full strength? What are some of the things you've learned that you didn't know, prior to the first pitch of the season?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I mean, every one of our lineups has looked different because we've had different people in and out just due to different situations. And so what I like is that I've learned that I can put any lineup out there and we can have great success. I learned that we don't have to rely on a couple, and that there's so many different people in our lineup that know how to step up and become clutch. I've learned that maybe we started off a little bit slow, but we figure it out. And we figure it out, we put up a lot of runs. I've learned that our pitching staff gives us opportunity to win in every single game that we've been a part of. And I've learned that really loves to play together and they love to compete and win together.
James.
Missy, two questions on Delgado. I know she came in as an infielder, but you moved her obviously to left to get her in the rotation last year. In moving her to center, when obviously that spot was open, was the thought process that just her range as an infielder allowed for that most, and that also that Hannah maybe best suited for left from a defensive side. And offensively, she certainly did well last year. But when you look at her conference numbers and then take a look at her situational splits, I mean, her situational splits were pretty unreal. I mean, if the NCAA site is correct, I think she hit like 410 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs last season. And so far, in a small sample this season, she's doing really well in these spots for a young player. How have you seen that she was able to transition that so quickly?
Hannah is very athletic. So she came in as an infielder and we can put her right there as an infielder and would do great. But then we were needing a spot in the outfield. And I can remember last year, the practice that we put her in left field and just instantly, she handled it as a young freshman. This year, all fall and even in January, we had center field wide open and she wanted it and she worked really, really hard to get it. I think the instincts that she has in the infield, just all the different responsibilities as a second baseman, I think gives her, it just gives her the knowledge, gives her the awareness to just be strong in center field. I love what she does. I really loved how she went back on that ball against Baylor against the wall. And I mean, she almost made the catch, got the ball in quick and kept her to a single. So I like what she's doing out there. I've been really impressed with her. I think at the plate, she's very particular. She knows what she wants. I love her triple threat. She can come up and, drive a ball, drive runners in, or she can drop a bunt down the line or do some short games. So I love how her game has just continued to get better from her first year into her second year.
Ryan.
Coach, sort of on an opposite note, there was a lot of hype coming into the season about Ariel Carlson and how she developed over the offseason. We saw it in fall ball. She struggled throughout the first 2 weekends in terms of putting it together at the plate. What do you have to do to get her to that spot? And how does she have to improve at the plate to be what was sort of expected of her coming off of that fall ball campaign?
Yeah, I think it's just to remember it's early. We've got a long way to go. Ariel is a big part of what we do. We love the power and the presence that she has at the plate. We love what she's been doing in the outfield. So, sometimes we get into the season and we start off hot and then cool off a little bit. Sometimes we might start off and, need some additional at bats, but I trust in Ariel and everything that she's doing. And I know she's going to be really big for us. So I think it's just continuing to be patient. Sometimes if you try to force things and you don't get what you want, I don't think she needs to force anything. I think she just needs to keep swinging the bat with confidence and, things will happen for her. She's worked too hard for it to not.
Back to James.
KK's gotten off to a nice start for you. And obviously, again, came as an experienced player already. She gets the player former team this weekend as well. What has she brought to this lineup already? And how you've seen her be able to, have success already in the short time, and I'm sure she's gonna feel some kind of way about playing her former team this weekend as well. But I'll let her speak to that. But to what you've seen from her and how she's been able to transition to this team already.
I think another one that's just put a ton of work in. She spent a ton of time with Coach Martyr and adjusting some things on her swing in the fall and through January. I think she's an absolute competitor. And the most important thing to her is that our team wins. And if she's playing first or she's playing third or wherever it may be, she doesn't care. She just wants ultimately to be able to play at a high level and for us to walk away with the W. I think she's got a lot of energy on the field and that, from there, it goes on to our other athletes. And I really like that about her. As far as playing Fullerton, I mean, with the transfer portal, that's just kind of part of our game. And I don't really know if she's going to be honestly that caught up into it. We've already played at Fullerton. We opened up there our first game of the year. I think she's excited to come off of a big weekend of Baylor and to continue with that. To me, that's what I think she's pretty excited about, is to continue what she was doing in Baylor. Loved how she was driving the ball to the right side and coming up clutch for us. So I can't wait for her to get back on the field this weekend.
We just got time for a few more, so we'll go with Ryan.
Coach, Hannah Gailey, you've stuck her at the bottom of the lineup for the majority of the start of the season. She didn't get that many hits this weekend, but she was still able to get on. Can you speak more to her approach at the plate this season and what you've liked from her?
Yeah, I love that she's taken her hacks. I love that she's looking for opportunities to find any way to get on base. I thought she's done, this last weekend, it was a little bit of a struggle, but she still managed to get on. And to me, I think about that 9 spot and your ability to turn the lineup over. And I like that she's been doing that. She's been able to turn the lineup over for us. We moved her up to the 8 this past weekend, and then Kedri had opportunity to turn the lineup over, and I liked watching her do it as well. So again, I like that we have different options and that we have strength throughout our lineup and then the ability to turn it over.
Last question, Chris.
Coach, one of the approaches that you've always had, or at least since you've been here, is just being aggressive on the base paths. And this year's team has so much more team speed. That's probably the best team speed you've had since you've been here. How much of your decision making is the team speed, what's available, and how much of it is just kind of what your approach is? But like, you've been really aggressive, particularly that third game. You could just see that put Baylor on their heels a little bit. What is your mindset going into how you approach being aggressive like that with the team speed that's available?
I agree. I think this year it's our deepest team that we've had, and we've had speed in the past, but I feel like throughout the lineup we have speed, and with that it allows us to do more things at the plate. I felt maybe at times in the past we were a little one-dimensional because we had a lot of right-handed hitters in our lineup and maybe had a couple that can run. Or with this year having some lefties in our lineup, but also having some righties in our lineup that can do multiple things. I think it allows us to put runners in motion with short game and with hit and runs and things like that. So it's been exciting to watch these guys execute.
All right, thanks for your time, Coach.
All right, thanks you guys.